Alright, hi Alex. Welcome to my guide on how to start a game of Civ 6 and not die to barbarians. So, we're going to go through about 25 turns here, and I'm going to go over what productions you should be picking, the important texts that you should be trying to get, what the civics tree and the government tab are, how to use tech boosting and civic boosting, and how to deal with barbarians so you don't get overwhelmed by them. So let's jump into it. So we're on turn 3 in this game here, and I've just set up a few things. So we have Ottawa, and the first thing I'm producing is the first thing I produce in every city, and that's a scout. So every time you play this game, the first thing you want to choose for production after you settle your city is a scout. The idea is you want to find out what's around your city, and the scout is going to do that faster than any other unit. The warrior that we have here, he can do a little bit of scouting, but we don't want him going too far away from the city because we want to hold him back so that he can protect it in case a barbarian comes. So we're gonna leave him around here. And then what else do we have? So if your map looks like mine and there are no icons here, what you're gonna want to do is head over to the left side here, click map options, and then click show yield icons. So we want these icons here because these are going to tell us where to settle. So when you settle your first city, what I did here was I settled it on fresh water, and then I picked a spot with the city always has 2 food no matter what. So you want to try to settle it on a tile that has 2 production. And so it would have been better, I just settled where my scout started, but it would have been better if I had moved him over to this tile or this tile so that I could get 2 production instead of just 1. But that's okay, things like that, it's no big deal. So right now our goal is just to scout around our area and see if we can find anything interesting. And we've produced our first scout. So our warrior's over here, so we're just going to move him down this way, see if we can find anything, and then we're going to move our warrior. We don't want him too far away from our city, so we're just going to move him around and see what we can uncover kind of near our city. We need to choose another production. Your advisor is going to recommend you build a monument, and for your first city, I would say you want to just not listen to them. We have a couple options. We want to build up a military, but we can wait to do that if we want. I think this game, I usually go 1 to 2 scouts. This game, I'm going to go 2 scouts, just so we can unlock the map a little bit faster. So let's get started on a second scout. Let me hit next turn, and I don't want my warrior to cross the river because it takes all of their movement to cross the river. So I'm just going to move him down this way and see what we can find down this way without crossing over the river. And if you ever have extra movement at the end of your turn for your unit, you can either just fortify them in place or skip their turn. I'm going to fortify him. And then my scout is going to keep exploring. And he just found a tribal hut, so that's great. So we're going to move him over to the tribal hut so that we can get the bonus that gives. These are like ruins in Civ 5. Okay, and we've just researched pottery. So pottery was the first, sorry, I forgot to mention that. Pottery was the first tech I picked, so let's talk about that. So if you open up your technology tree, you get a lot of different options. And what you're going to want to research first is you're going to want to get something. So if we look at my city here, I have the resources I have around are nothing except for incense. And to improve incense, I need irrigation. So the first texts that you research are, you want to research texts that you can help you improve the tiles around your city. So I got pottery here so that I could, after that, research irrigation. And I'm going to keep doing that. So I'm just going to click irrigation to make sure I'm researching it. And now that's going. I'm going to start researching that. And my unit needs orders. I'm going to move my scout onto this tribal village to collect that. And if you want to know what he collected, you can go to the side here. And there's a historic moment. And I think that just gave me money. Yep, so I just got 20 coins for doing that, which is great. And there's nothing else over here, so I'm going to move him back out. Now, this is important. We've met our first barbarian scout. The second you see a barbarian scout, you want to drop everything you're doing. And so our original plan was to move down this way, but we saw the barbarian scout, so we're dropping everything we're doing and we're moving towards him so that we can kill him. Because what's going to happen is, if this guy, we want to prevent him from getting over here and seeing our city. If he gets within a couple tiles of our city, he's going to see it, and then he's going to start running back to his encampment and bringing backup to kill us. And we do not want that to happen. So we're going to do everything in our power to kill this guy before he can get back. Now, let's say, hypothetically, that we didn't have this warrior here, and instead this warrior was a scout. If he was a scout, we could still try to kill this scout. That's okay. But if it was a scout versus a warrior, like let's say the barbarians had a warrior and we had a scout, we would actually want to have our scout run back and try to get actual military units over there. The scouts are very weak in this game. They're not really good at fighting. And this is just a flood. This is part of the new DLC. We don't have to talk about that too much. So the scout ran away, and we have to chase him down. So we're going to keep chasing him down. We have to keep an eye on him at least. If we can't catch up with him, he's going to be faster than us because he's a scout, but that's okay. But we have to at least keep an eye on him so we can see where he's going, because he's going to lead us back to his encampment. And then we're going to bring backup. So normally if I weren't trying to chase this guy down, I would send my scout up this way to see what's over here. But we do not want to let this guy get away. We're going to spend all of our resources trying to track him down. So I'm going to send the scout I just built over to here. And then we choose a new production. And because we have that barbarian now, instead of building a monument or a builder, I'm going to focus on building up my military, because we have no one defending the city now, because my warrior now has to go and chase down this guy. So to get someone defending the city, we're going to get a slinger. Easy enough. And this guy, we have enough resources now probably taking care of this scout. We have this one and this warrior, and we're building the slinger. So I'm going to let this guy keep exploring. Alright, and we're not going to worry about this tribal hut because we need to keep an eye on that barbarian scout. And we also got a message. Barbarians have moved near us. So now we have a barbarian hut here as well. So let's do one thing at a time. First, we're going to move our warrior here, and then here, so we can keep an eye on this scout here. And then we were going to let this scout explore, but since this barbarian hut just spawned. We just got the notice that it spawned. We're gonna move our scout back so we can at least watch it and make sure that these guys aren't coming out to attack our city while we build up our defenses. So let's check out our city. So we're gonna get the slinger in 2 turns, and we have that little line. So it means our city's not growing, and that's really bad. Early game, you want to make sure that your city is growing. So let's look at ways we can fix that. Well, we'll click on our Manage Citizens tab. We can see that we're only using 2 tiles. It's not growing because they don't have enough food. And the 2 tiles that we're working on right now each only have 1 food. So what we want to do is either improve them with a builder, which we can't do. It's not an option because we're focusing on military. So our other option is to just get a tile that has food. And as luck would have it, we have 2 tiles here that we could buy that have food. And I'm actually just going to buy both of those now so we can start working them. And these are just strictly better tiles than these tiles. Actually, they're not. They have less production. But for our purposes now, they are going to be better. So we're going to move at least 1. And let's just move the other one. And now we're working these 2 tiles for food. And let's see how that works out for us. It won't update until the next turn. And we'll see then what that did for our growth. So we just unlocked our first civic. I'll go over that in a second. Yep, so now we're growing again. So in 5 turns, we'll get another population, and that's great. And this guy, let's talk about this encampment here. We can't fight it with this scout. The scout can fight, but it's way too weak to do anything. So all he's going to do right now is he's just going to sit here. As much as it sucks to have him do that, he's literally just going to sit here and watch this encampment. Make sure no one's coming out of it and attacking our city. We're making sure that it's in color. It's not grayed out. That's important. The AI knows that you're watching it. So you want to have a unit there keeping an eye on it so nobody spawns. And then we were chasing down a scout over here. And we're going to keep doing that. We're just going to follow his tracks. And we're uncovering a bunch of tribal villages. So I say as we're tracking this guy down with our warrior, we're going to move our scout here. And he's going to collect all the tribal villages that we're uncovering. And this is just the message about our barbarian outpost. We're aware of it now, so I'm going to dismiss it. And we got the tribal village. I'm going to dismiss that. And you dismiss with right click. Okay, so we know what we're doing. We're keeping an eye on this barbarian encampment with this scout, but we're not attacking it. We're way too weak. This scout is not strong enough to attack this encampment. So that's fine. And now we're going to go to our government tab. And we just unlocked a government. So every time you complete a civic, let's talk about that first, sorry. So the civics tree is like the tech tree, but for civics. And you can unlock different things, just like the tech tree. But there are a few key ones. The most important one early game is going to be this early empire civic. And then after that, the most important one is political philosophy. This is where you unlock governments, and this is kind of where the real meat of the game starts. So if you want to not think about this tree at all, what I would do is just click at the start of the game, click political philosophy, and then it'll queue up everything you need to get that, and you don't have to think about it. So this is going to last us for at least 50 turns, unlocking all of these techs, and we won't have to think about any of them. You can also read through all of the different things these do. Like I said, early empire, if you want to be a little more conservative in how you're queuing up the civics, you can just go for early empire here. And we like early empire because it gives you this card that I'll talk about in a moment that lets you build settlers twice as fast. So that's a very good card, but I'm just going to queue up political philosophy so I don't have to think about it too much. And then I'm going to go to my government tab. So every time we unlock a civic, we get to change our cards here. And there's a lot of different ones. You can put the red cards in the red slot and the yellow cards in the yellow slot. And I really like this card here to start the game. The +5 strength against barbarians. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's quite a bit. It's the difference between killing some units in 2 attacks versus 3 attacks. So I'm going to drop that in. And then for our yellow cards, we have 2 options. And this option here, +1 production in all cities, that's not going to be too useful for us because we only have 1 city right now. So I'm going to pick this other card that gives us +1 faith and +1 gold in the capital. And that's going to be great. Faith in this game, much more than Civ 5, is a lot more like a secondary currency. And let me just confirm that. So even if you're not going for a religion, you want to get faith because you need it to buy certain units, especially in the late game. So you always want to try to produce faith. It's never a bad thing. And then that looks all set. So let's go next turn. And we just unlocked we just finished building our slinger. And he's probably not going to be able to take this encampment that we have here all by himself. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move him to the side here. And he's going to defend the city. And then as backup for him, we're going to produce a warrior. And there's a lot of options. You know, there's a settler, there's a monument, there's a granary, there's a builder. There's a lot of things you want to do. But your top priority, especially in the early game, is to build units to defend yourself. So even though I really want to build the builder and I want to build the settler so I can get more cities, I have to build this warrior so that I can deal with this encampment. And then I'm going to keep going. This guy's fortified. He's just watching this encampment. And then I'm going to move this guy. He's trying to catch up. And I'm going to move him there. And look at that. Just by getting this tribal village, we actually got a free builder. So that's really good. And I'm just going to keep moving him along. And this guy is chasing down that scout. We kind of lost him. This is the point where I would decide to give up on chasing the scout, at least with my warrior, because he's so far away from the city now that I'm not too worried about him coming back. And we'll just use this scout here to watch this area and make sure he doesn't come back. So I'm going to, on the next turn, I'm going to start sending my warrior back. We're about maybe 10 tiles out from the city, and that's about as far as I want my warrior to go. I don't really want him to go further because it's going to take him quite a while to get back. Other units need orders. This builder we just unlocked needs orders, and the only thing he can build right now is a farm, and I actually don't mind that. That's going to give us +1 food and give us some extra housing, but we're about to grow in 4 turns anyway, so we want to be working another double food tile anyway. So that seems like a good idea to me. And then next turn, and some of our units need orders. So like I said, we're gonna take our warrior and we're gonna start sending him back this way. And then we're going to take our scout, and he's going to watch this end of the map. And we're going to get him to get this tribal village, so right now he's just going to fortify. Remember, this guy is keeping an eye out for that scout. We do not want him to come back. And if he does, then we'll send our military units over to defend. But for now, we're alright. This guy, we're just going to start moving him down, but he's not going to attack yet. We need the warrior to kind of defend for him. This guy needs orders. You know, there's nothing really we can build. So I'm just going to have him skip his turn. And we're going to move this guy. And this guy's annoying me. He keeps saying he needs orders, but I have nothing for him to do. So I'm just going to set him to sleep. Be very careful when you set units to sleep, because it's really easy to forget that they're there. But I don't think... Well, actually, next turn, we're going to unlock irrigation, and then we'll be able to improve this incense. So I'm actually going to wake him up so that next turn we can do that. But yeah, you can send them to sleep, but just it will never alert you again, so make sure that you're on top of what units you're putting to sleep. Alright, and this guy, let's get our scout out to explore again, and we'll sub him in with this slinger, and he'll start watching. So our scout can actually do stuff. We're going to go next turn. And we've unlocked irrigation, that's great. So first thing we're going to do, that's just reminded us, we're going to move our builder to this incense tile. And we're going to improve it. And that's going to give us +2 gold. So this tile's really great now. It's giving us 2 gold, 1 production, 1 food, and 1 faith. That's really not bad. Alright, so now that we've unlocked irrigation, we have to research another tech. And this is a good time to talk about tech boosting. So underneath all these technologies is a little achievement you can see. And if you complete that achievement, it unlocks about 1/3 of, or I think it's 40% of the research for that technology. So for example, if we founded a city on a coast for sailing, it would make the research time for this technology go from 7 turns probably all the way down to 4 turns. So that's really good. You want to try to the idea is, if you don't have a specific technology that you know you want, it's a good idea to just pick one that's already been boosted. So for example, we found a natural wonder. That's this one here. It's the I don't know what it's called. Oh, the Pantanal. So we found the Pantanal, and that boosted astrology. So I don't particularly have anything else that I'm really keen on researching. So I'm just going to get astrology so that, because it's going to be faster to research that than the other ones. And then we just unlocked our warrior, so he's going to move down to this encampment. And whoa, you can see here the barbarians have moved out of their hidey hole. And that's okay, but they might try to attack us, so we're going to make sure we're fortified. They have to move on this tile. Fortifying is going to give us extra defense, so if they do try to attack us, we'll be ready. So we're just going to fortify where we are. We don't have to go on the offense. We want to play really conservatively with our units. We do not want to lose them. So that's great. So these guys are fortified there. And we have to choose a new production. And we have our builder already. We got him for free, so we don't need one of those. And we have plenty of scouts. We have 2 scouts now. And we have plenty of military units. We have this encampment under control with a warrior and a slinger. And then we have this warrior coming back. And we have this scout making sure that that barbarian scout is taken care of. So I think now's a good time to start either building a monument, or if we were having food troubles, a granary. But I'm going to build a settler so that we can start getting other cities out on the map. And the idea in Civ 6, much more than Civ 5, is to build as many cities as possible, but only in good spots. So, for example, we can it is possible to put a city right here. And let me pull up the settler tab just to show you. So once our settler spawns, it's going to pull up this screen, and you may be inclined to just settle anywhere that's green, but this is in the middle of a desert, and even though it does have fresh water, you can see here it has lots of fresh water, so we'll get lots of housing and lots of growth. There's not really a lot right in this area to actually do. Whereas if we put a city down here, even though it's coastal water, it only has +1 housing instead of +3. It's got a lot of different stuff we can do with it. So we have the cattle here, we have whales, we have fish, we have incense, and we have sheep. And the area I'm looking at is about 3 tiles away from where you settle. So it's in this general area here is all of the tiles that our city is eventually gonna be able to work. So I really like this spot for a city. We can look for other ones as well. This is why we have to explore. Like down here, it's also green, but this is a really bad spot to settle. I mean, we do have the whales and we do have the deer, but there's really not much else around here, and there's a lot of water that we can't do much on. So I like here. So I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind. It's gonna be 7 turns until the settler spawns, but that's kind of where I'm thinking is the city's gonna go. And this scout, he's not gonna be fighting, so we're just gonna move him to explore up this way, and our warrior is gonna move down this way. This guy's fortified, and we're all set. And that's good. So we were fortified, we were ready for this guy's attack. And now is a good time. Oh, I fucked that up. Now is a good time to talk about combat. So the major things that you want to be aware of in combat are this early game, slingers are very weak. So, but they're good because when they attack, they don't take any damage. But you have to be really careful. Like this guy attacked us while we were fortified, and we still lost almost half of our health. And one way to combat that is to go on hills. You get a lot more defense on hills than you do on where we are now, which is no hills, just plains. So I'm gonna move. What I'm gonna do is I have a couple options. I could move my slinger back to this tile and then fortify him so that he can start healing in a little more of a defensible spot on the hills. I wouldn't move him to this tile because then he would just get attacked again, even though this is hills. What I'm actually going to do is, he got a promotion from being attacked. And in this game, promotions heal you. Every single promotion heals you, no matter what it is. So I'm going to choose this one, +5 strength against range strength against land units, so that I'm going to click that. That's going to heal me all the way up. And then I can attack this guy again on the next turn, now at full health. So we'll come back to combat on the next turn, and I'll explain a few more things. My builder here, he doesn't have much to do now, so I'm just going to skip his turn. And then that looks good to me. So we're getting attacked again. And this warrior, this is where you really have to think in combat. This is actually important. If we move him here, it's a much better choice than moving him here. Even though if we just right click the spearmen here, it looks like the best way to do it is to go down. But actually, I want to move him up to these hills so that our warrior has more defense. And then I could attack the spearmen, and I would do damage, so you can see I would do quite a bit of damage to him. But you have to be really, really careful about your units, and I don't like that my slinger is already in yellow here, even after we healed him up to full health. So I'm going to play as conservatively as possible and move him back, because it's really important that your units do not die. So that's good. And then this scout is not going to be useful in the fight. I'm just going to keep moving him up that way. And this scout, I think I accidentally fortified him. I'm going to keep him moving. And next turn, we're going to get this tribal hut. Okay, and now we're in a really good position here, because I can attack this guy with a major victory. So you can see down at the bottom all of the different bonuses I'm getting, and I'm also getting a bonus for being on hills and him not being on hills. I'm going to take this attack. This is a really good attack. And then I can also now attack with my slinger, because this guy's really low health and we can just kill him. If we couldn't kill him, I might keep moving my slinger back, but we can kill him, so I'm just going to take the kill. And by killing him with the slinger, we boosted archery, so that's really good. And a unit needs orders. This guy's back. I'm going to keep him right in my city here. I'm going to move him out, and I'm going to keep my warrior right in my city. And then I'm going to skip the turn for the builder, and I'm going to collect this tribal hut. And he got a promotion for doing that. I'm just going to promote him now. I could wait until he's damaged and use the promotion to heal him, but I don't care too much. And I have two choices. I can get faster movement in woods or rainforest, or faster movement on hills. And I'm looking here, there's a lot of hills in front of me, so I'm going to pick just a hill. You don't have to overthink the promotions, just get whichever one. They're all good. Alright, and we actually unlocked a governor from that tribal hut, so I'll explain this quickly. This is a big part of the game, but I'm not going to go too in depth. The governors all have different promotion trees. So this one has this whole promotion tree, and this one has this whole promotion tree, and you can get 7 of them. And you can put one governor in one of your cities. So, and they all are themed around different things. So this guy is military, this is diplomacy, religion, strategic resources like iron and coal and that type of thing. This is city growth. This is culture and science, and this one is gold. So you can kind of just pick ones that you like. You can read when you assign them. When you first buy them, they get this first ability here, the one at the top. And I like this guy, the strategic resources guy. I think he's pretty good. So his first ability is you get 50% yields from plot harvests and feature removals. So I'm going to appoint him, and I'm going to send him to Ottawa. It takes 5 turns for him to establish, and then once he's established, I get the bonuses he has in this city only. So I'll talk about that in 5 turns. We're going to go next turn here. And we're just going to sleep. I'm going to use, I'll explain what that feature removal, so you need builders to do feature removal and plot harvests. And I'll move my builder here to show you, and then I'm going to set him to sleep. And we're not done with this fight. So even though we killed that barbarian, we have to make sure we move a unit onto the encampment so that no more barbarians spawn. So we're going to move our man down, and he should, even if another barbarian spawns, our warrior should be able to take him on his own, so that's fine. So we're going to leave him to heal up a little bit, and then we're going to move our slinger back to our city. And we're going to move this warrior out to the edge. In general, you want the ranged units on your city, and then for defense, and then the melee units on the edges of your city for defense. So I'm going to move him right back into the center. And a unit needs orders, so I'm going to move my scout up this way. And we met a city-state. That's great. You don't need to worry about city-states too much. They have a lot of different things they can do, but they're neutral, so they won't attack you if you don't attack them, and you don't really have to worry about them. It's something you can delve into later. Alright, and my scout needs orders. I'm just going to send him up this way. Look at that, we got a tribal hut. So I'm going to send him towards that, and then hit next turn. Alright, and I wanted to show you this builder. So right now, this builder can do a feature removal. So he can remove the woods, and that would get us 12 production, and it would remove the woods from that tile. So it permanently removes the woods, but it gets us 12 instant production, so we can finish whatever we're building immediately. So that's what this governor gives, would make that 12 into 18. So it's a pretty substantial bonus. But to do that, we need mining. So we did just finish our astrology research, and look at that, mining only takes 3 turns. So let's get researching on mining. And then we'll put our builder to sleep for 3 turns, actually. And then this guy is just going to fortify on the edge. And now we've got a pantheon. The pantheons are like the first part of a religion. I think they were in Civ 5 as well. And you can read through all of them and see what you like. But in general, what you're going to want to do is find some resource that you have. Like this is plantations. If you had stone, it would be quarries. So there's all sorts of different stuff. If you were going for a religion, you would pick any of these ones that give you bonuses to faith. So I'm just going to read through these quickly. And holy site districts get +1 faith from adjacent desert tiles. You know, that's not bad. I have a lot of desert tiles here. I could put a holy site right in here, and that would be a pretty good spot for it. So I'm gonna pick that, and that boosted a civic. And then this unit needs orders. I'm gonna get this tribal hut. We got population in our city, so we went from 3 to 4, and now we don't have enough food to feed all of our citizens. So I'm gonna come back to that and address that. But this scout, I'm just gonna keep moving around. Unit needs orders. This scout needs orders. And I just saw this. So we got an alert here. A red alert. So you always want to look at the red alerts. A barbarian outpost is spawned. So that's actually, I wanted to keep exploring with this scout. But because this outpost is spawned, we have to really keep an eye on that. So I'm going to move him back. And just like before, there's the scout. And scouts can fight scouts, that's fine. But I want to move my scout so he can have visibility over this encampment, so we can see what's going on. And I'm also going to move this warrior that was fortified. I'm going to move him towards the encampment. So I'm being very preemptive here about this encampment. I'm not waiting for them to come to me. I'm making sure I'm on top of it before it gets out of hand. And this one down here, we're not finished yet. We have to move onto it so that we can get it to not spawn anymore. And these guys are moving back to our city. So there's a lot to do, but you get it eventually. It just takes some practice. But the idea here is you want to be on top of it. You want to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. So read these. If you ever see a red one, click on it and it'll take you to exactly where that problem is. The red ones are important. The rest you can kind of ignore, but the red ones you have to look at. Alright. And I did have to make sure the growth was better, so we can get this tile here, which would give us extra growth. So I'm going to do that. So that has 2 food instead of the 1 food from this one. And if you want to, instead of just doing all of this by hand, if you want to just have the game do it for you, you can click the growth button, and you can click multiple and it'll balance between them. But I'm just going to click food growth here, and now it automatically assigns for growth. Okay, and we saw that scout move. Did you see him? He ran from over here to over here. So we're going to try to cut him off with our warrior. We want to make sure that he doesn't see our city and then run back. So we're also going to try to cut him off on the other side with this scout. So we're going to try to trap him in. So as much as this encampment is important, the scout is more important. Because if the scout sees our city and then starts running back, this encampment will start pumping out tons of units. So it's really important that you don't let them see our city, run back, and then alert the encampment. And our settler just spawned, and as luck would have it, we also just moved our slinger back. So we're going to escort our settler to wherever it's going just by clicking this button. And now we're going to pick a spot. So I was thinking over here is a pretty good spot. So we have lots of resources, but the scout is on that tile, and the game is suggesting this tile. It has fresh water, it has lots of yields, and I actually agree with that. It's got the rice that we can get, it's got the stone, sheep, cattle, incense, and we can still get the whales even. So I'm gonna go for that. And now that they're in escort formation, they move together as one unit. This guy we can promote him. I'm gonna get just that one, doesn't matter. And then we have to build something else in our city. We finished foreign trade, and that lets us build traders now. The traders are good because in Civ 6, the traders are how you build roads. So I'm gonna start building a trader so that once our second city is up, we can build a road between this city and that city. And we can finally clear out this encampment. This yellow screen here is the era score screen. You really don't have to worry about it too much. For now, just worry about the barbarians and making sure your city is always growing. Alright, we're going to go next turn. We're going to dismiss. So this barbarian outpost is here. We know it's here, so I'm going to dismiss this. And the rest of them will go away on their own. Except for this one. Somebody completed a wonder, so I'm going to dismiss it with right click as well. I don't care. And there's a penalty for attacking over a river. But this is a warrior and this is a scout, and you can see even though I'm getting a penalty for attacking over the river, like my unit is doing less damage, the scouts are still so weak, so I'm gonna take the attack anyway. And then I'm also gonna attack from this side, and we're really beating this guy up. It's very important that the scout, I know I've said it a million times, but it's very important the scout that we take care of the scout before he seizes our city and then runs back. And we have more options. This guy, I'm going to click the plus here and then set him to automate. He's just going to walk around on his own. And these guys are on their way. This scout is actually on where we're settling, so we'll just send them off to here and then they'll wait. In one turn we'll have our governor established and we'll have mining unlocked so we can remove these forest tiles. And this guy just finished clearing out that encampment, so I'm going to send him back to the city for defense. The city's kind of like a hub where everything goes on. And I'm just going to kill this scout and then move my warrior over to here. And then these guys are going to move to here. And we could found the city here. I'll tell you what, why not? It's no big deal. We missed out on the whales, but just to get it started. And this is actually probably a good time to end it. So now the next turns, what I'd do is I would send this warrior over here, and the scout I would heal him up first and then send him off to explore some more, like this area. And this warrior is going to go back to this city to defend. And we have a pretty good military. This guy is going to just stay here and he's also going to defend. And I hope that was all clear and that gave you somewhat of a good picture of how the game works.